What's on TV? Let's find out.
Like you know to check the propane.
Let's fire up.
Nowman, the superhero of the present moment. Hello, this is Dan Nowman Niswander, host and producer, of course, of the Nowman Show. And the Nowman Show has been broadcasting for 12 years. Wow, in its 12th season. Amazing. And the tagline of the show has always been, it's a cultural magazine variety show focusing on arts, entertainment, education, and news. So I'm calling this particular episode Arts, Entertainment, Education, and News. And it will feature a preview of a new miniseries that will be premiering. It's called The Niswander Story, Music, Musician, and Artist. Also, you'll see some highlights from a movie that I completed in December of 2025, which is called The Niswander Story, Activism and Journalism, with media that I've been doing in recent months. And an episode that I appeared in very recently on the Really American YouTube channel. So check it out right now.
Right now.
Yes.
Hello,
absolutely.
Dan. How are you?
Hello.
Start from the very beginning. Where were you born? Where are you from? What's your story?
Well, I was born in Ashland, Ohio. I lived in 5 states until I was 18 years old, mostly in Ohio, Indiana, Oklahoma, and Kentucky, but I don't really remember Kentucky because I was a baby then.
In a very short period of time, I went from being nobody in the scene in Indianapolis to being one of the more popular artists, kind of quirky and David Bowie-esque, kind of thing.
Yeah, very cool.
And because I would bring characters into the show and do all kinds of fun things with that, the Hollywood style kind of thing. And people loved the song called Surfing with Jesus that was on the album.
There's another poor man who lives down the street who doesn't have the money for new shoes on his feet. He works hard each day to earn his wage. It seems that life is a surrounding cage. And when I see the confusion all around us, I know that this is nothing humorous. So you know it's out of order. Let's all try to put the pieces back together again.
Revolution of the Heart was released in 1999.
This is the story of a woman. This is the story of a man. And the feeling that they share is that they really care about everyone. Whether rich or poor, the heart is an open door for good. They understand compassion. When I leave your room, when before dawn. These cool cats get off this metallic ship. They're wearing gray suits and they look real hip. They like the human race and they'll show us how they dance in the funky space. Funky outer space. Funky space. Funky space. Funky space.
We now return you to your regular scheduled program.
And also Surfing with Jesus with co-producers, twin brothers Eric Klee and Mark Johnson. And that was definitely a crowd favorite.
If Jesus were here today, would he wanna go surfing? Do you think that he would play beach volleyball? Wear a neat pair of sandals and a cool set of shades. Got it all figured out, 'cause he knows all. Surfing, whoa, whoa, surfing with Jesus, surfing, whoa.
Steve Hammer from Nouveau Newsweekly gave it a great review. I was approached by someone who was going to be booking bands for a new club in town called Birdie's Live, and he said he needed someone to create something like a variety show once a month in the club. And I started doing that. It was called Mystery Monday, and it was a great opportunity for me to explore everything in production, not just music, but live stage shows, pull out my characters.
Niswander, rock, theater.
The characters included Nowman, the superhero of the present moment, avant-garde artist Chip Jingleheimer, stand-up comedian Buddy Shine, Dan Westwood, who was a British undercover secret agent, Lukewarm, a storyteller, rock and roller Mellow Man, punk rocker Glam Sam, Mojo Workman, Dr. Hans Nutcase, time traveler. I had a lot of fun with it. Mixed it up with rock and roll. One night, actually, I had to stop the show and let Prince and New Power Generation play, so it was pretty cool.
I guess that's, if you gotta let somebody play.
Yeah, right?
Might as well be Prince of the New Power Generation.
You know, people like David Bowie inspired me to do anything I wanted to do, right?
We actually received recognition from the office of George Harrison after a tribute show.
And we can even say that Prince was a mystery guest.
You know, I was pissed off about the whole Prince thing because I wanted to see Niswander.
Don inspired me to want to be a serious musician, but also a serious peace activist.
You know, it's money in politics. I mean, it doesn't matter where that money is coming from necessarily. I mean, there's lobbyist groups of all kinds. And, you know, when Obama was president, the Supreme Court passed Citizens United, which put that on steroids.
Right.
Basically, it had already been in place, but now anything goes. And we're seeing the influence of AIPAC in practically every part of our government. You know what I mean? So it's like, and even Trump, you know, I think at the Knesset even admitted, you know, to the world that, we're getting all this money from, you know, Miriam Edelson and all this. And, you know, the irony of this event here is George Soros funds a lot of the No Kings events. And he's technically, by principle, you could say he's a king.
Yeah,
a lot of
literally,
money,
like,
and he
is that the richest
influences-
dude in the world, kind of?
You know what I mean? So we really do need a government of action for working families. So
this event is being funded by George Soros.
Not just him, but like
not just him, but it's just the irony
People of that
you know,
nature. Yeah,
is
that's
interesting.
super ironic.
I mean, he's the more, you know, public figure, I guess, and all that. There's a a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that we have no idea.
Like I've been saying, these are all like Marvel supervillains, essentially. Now, there's a large number of Venezuelan migrants in Chicago, and there's been a lot of controversy around that. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, those are people,
New York as well.
New York, those are people that left Venezuela due to the sanctions and the blockade.
Right. Which we've been doing for a long time.
When the oil prices went down, the government couldn't no longer subsidize their businesses, so people had to leave to neighboring countries. And then when the Biden administration came in, they had a more relaxed borders policy. Right. And then there was a lot of the Zionist groups were involved in funding a lot of organizations that were helping to bring migrants, making them believe that they're going to have great benefits. And
what was the beneficial of the Zionists to do that, though? How does that benefit them?
There's tends to destabilize like the modern electorates. Like you are able to switch the demographics of an electorate.
Interesting.
Well, that's the thing is that the ruling class even to some extent is divided because they have a choice. How do you want to grow your economy? How do you want to create an economy? You either do it through economic development by going into countries like, say, for instance, Russia or China. They'll go into Africa,
right.
Ethiopia or Burkina Faso, and they'll actually invest in the countries, and help them develop. You know what I mean? And that's what basically Gaddafi was doing. In Africa back in the day,
and unfortunately,
I know that for a fact, because I had a roommate in overseas that at the end of the 80s that basically confirmed that the reason why I'm here is I'm going to school because of the Gaddafi government for free.
I've heard that too from people.
That they were the strongest economy at the time, and then we bombed them back to the Stone Age. Remember?
Literally,
we came, we saw it.
He died. And now slavery is back in their country.
That's right, and it's
Sudan's going crazy too.
So China and Russia could invest in countries, create economic development for those countries and also within, right? So the same thing can happen here. Like, of course we should support, peace talks. It doesn't matter if it's Trump and Putin or Joe Schmo and Bill Haley, whatever, it doesn't matter. We need peace. And
1,000%.
And the peace bridge, would be great economic development for both the United States and Russia, because this has been discussed over 100 years. It's a peace bridge between Siberia and Alaska. That's why they met in Alaska. People don't know that.
The Bering Strait.
The Bering Strait. They talked about this. Stalin and FDR both thought that was a good idea back then.
Now attend a nationwide outcry against President Trump's threats of attacks against Venezuela and controversial attacks on boats in the Caribbean. During an appearance at the Reagan Library in Simi Valley today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said President Trump could use the U.S. military as he sees fit.
Demonstrators in downtown L.A. this afternoon loudly disagree with that idea. Jillian Smuckler joining us live from Hollywood tonight with more on that story. Jillian.
Hi, Rick and Karine. Yeah, hundreds of people gathered in downtown Los Angeles today, joining a nationwide call to stop U.S. military action in Venezuela. And protesters tell us they're trying to send a message not only to the White House, but also to the world. People in more than 60 cities nationwide are rallying in what they call a last-ditch push to stop what they fear is a new U.S. war.
One, proxy war after another, and people are just tired of it.
What is it all for? It's all for money. It's all for greed.
In L.A. County, protesters say the Trump administration's escalating strikes in the Caribbean and new comments from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth are clear warnings of a much larger conflict ahead.
We've been bombing fishing boats that, supposedly have drug traffickers on them, but it's really not about drug trafficking. It's about oil and economics.
The National Day of Action targets the administration's recent military campaign, including 22 strikes on alleged drug boats since September.
If you're working for a designated terrorist organization and you bring drugs to this country in a boat, we will find you and we will sink you.
More than 70% of Americans oppose military intervention.
Well, a lot of it is money in politics. I mean, we spend a lot of money on war, and I think people are really tired of that when we need to invest in our own country and not in destruction overseas. And I think that's really what's on people's minds more than anything else.
Earlier this week, President Trump said land strikes could begin, quote, very soon. Protesters here in Los Angeles say they're trying to stop that before it starts.
Well, very good. I think we have enough time to take one listener question. So let's do that for a Facebook question. This is from Dan Nowman, who asks, do you feel that a big economic crash is inevitable, and what kinds of alliances can be created to reach the masses with thoughtful, factual messages?
Well, I can't predict an economic crash is inevitable because you have socialism bailing out capitalism. At our big rally in Wall Street a few years ago, we had a big sign, socialism bailing out capitalism, otherwise known as bailing out Wall Street on the backs of U.S. taxpayers via Uncle Sam. That's the system we have in place. We've got to recognize it, that without socialism bailing out capitalism, capitalism would have collapsed about every decade in these banking crises and rampant speculation with other people's money like pension money. So is a big economic crash inevitable? There may be a crash, but you, the taxpayers, are going to have the safety net on your back, not to mention growing unemployment from such a crash. What kind of alliances? I think if you read my book, you'll see all kinds of alliances, left, right, back home, people you don't ordinarily associate with politically or electorally. But on these issues, and I have 24 issues, which include the issue of bailing out Wall Street, there's a huge majority of left, right saying break up the big banks, break up any corporation that's too big to fail, and crashes on the taxpayer's back.
Well, thank you, Dan Nowman, for that Facebook question.
He knows we're in Ukraine and we're genociding children and women and people in Palestine, and we're not doing anything to stop it. Well, if it just starts with a few of us, then it starts with a few of us. And Nicholas, if you and your wife can hear us, we love you, and we are here from all around the United States because we support you, brother. You need to be out here now. This is inexcusable for the United States government. I am not happy with my government. I love the American people. I love what this country is about. But our government is a huge, huge disappointment. To many of us that have had to live our entire lives either poor or lower middle class, well, a handful of people have everything they want every single second of every day. It's not necessary. There's abundance for everyone, but we have to let it happen. God bless you, Maduro. We love you. Free Maduro now!
This may be the dumbest thing I've ever fucking done. You support the Holy War? I truly support Iran. Holy War. It's a term you probably haven't heard recently unless you're a history major or a cosplaying crusader.
We are honored to come before your presence today, lifting up the arms of our president.
But recently, the term has been launched back into vogue like a missile as the American public struggles with yet another war in the Middle East. And the Trump administration and top military officials who launched the war seemingly struggle to pick a coherent justification out of a hat.
No one seems to have a clear plan for the war or even a clear reason why we started it. And apparently America's military is even at risk of running out of weapons.
But earlier this week, the World War III marketing department truly struck gold with their first ironclad defense of murderous regime change in the Middle East. Namely, it's all part of God's plan.
God's plan. God's plan.
You see, some buzzkillers over at the Military Religious Freedom Foundation claim they've been inundated with more than 200 calls across dozens of military installations from service members reporting that their commanders have invoked extremist rhetoric of Christian Zionist messianism when justifying the unprovoked war on Iran. One military commander reportedly told his combat unit, quote, President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth.
Sick. So I decided to patronize my local Spirit Halloween to get into the holy spirit of it all and sign up for the righteous cause. Oh, thank you.
What is that? But I was about to find out that signing up for Donald Trump's holy war might not be as easy
Let me in!
or as morally righteous as I've been led to believe. Out of courtesy for the service members and unlike other super serious independent journalists,
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare.
Be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Okay, you bring up a fair point.
we decided to respect their wishes not to be filmed, but they informed me they weren't at liberty to discuss the Holy War, and I got the sense that none of them were true believers like our incredibly religious military leaders and president. And that got me thinking, if the rank and file weren't on board with the Holy War, maybe this war wasn't God's plan to bring on Armageddon and Jesus' comeback tour. Maybe I'd been duped. And right then, as if by divine providence and completely unscripted, I stumbled upon a group of paid leftist agitators. Could this be the sign I was looking for? If I couldn't convert the rank and file soldiers, perhaps I could convert these heathens.
Do you support the Holy War? Actually, I'm supporting Iran. Do you support the Holy War, sir? No. Do you support the Holy War? No.
But boy, did I have my work cut out for me, because these heathens were down bad.
Sir, do you support the Holy War?
No, I don't.
And why is that? Why not?
I'm a secular person, you know.
A heathen. Your shirt says no war with Iran.
Right.
You don't agree with the Holy War?
The Holy War, based on you talking about Islam versus what?
Well, what I'm referring to is the justification that's being used by a lot of top military officials who are saying things like this war is God's plan to bring on Armageddon, the second coming of Christ, and it's their moral justification for why we are at war with Iran. You don't support that?
No, I mean, that sounds like mental illness to me.
Do you support the Holy War?
What is the Holy War?
It's the justification using God and the Armageddon and the second coming of Jesus Christ to justify invading Iran with Israel.
No.
Why not?
Because you shouldn't use God's name in vain or for war.
Interesting. I never thought about it like that. Why don't you see this holy righteousness as adequate moral cause to invade a foreign country and murder people and do regime change in the Middle East?
Well, first of all, I'm a preacher's kid. And I was raised that you love your neighbor as yourself.
Well, I think that's how the Bible says it, but I don't know if that's what they mean.
My name's Andre, and I'm running to be mayor for Los Angeles in this 2026 Los Angeles municipal elections.
Wow, okay. And Andre, do you, as a mayoral candidate, support the Holy War?
No, I don't support any kind of Israeli state wars, especially against the vulnerable people of Palestine, or especially against any of our other brothers and sisters in the Middle East. Because look, those people have a right to their own independence, to their own sovereignty, but it needs to be on their terms, right? We need to support them in that in any way we can, but we shouldn't be sending boots on the ground. We can send supplies and moral support and get the UN involved and have this be an international effort. But I don't think that it helps any of us to send actual American state, troops on the ground to these places.
The libtards I spoke to were making some good points, and I had to admit I was starting to fall prey to some of their propaganda.
The U.S. and Israel continue to demonstrate that the real threats to the Middle East are Zionism and imperialism. Shame! Shame! The United States is going to war for the interests of the corporate elite.
I don't know, man. These people are starting to make some good points.
After all, if this war was God's plan, why were so many people so upset about it?
People on both sides are not happy. It doesn't matter if you're Democratic, Republican, moderate, nobody's really satisfied. And even though we're divided on the issues, it's obvious that there's a problem in this country. At the end of the day, we're a country of laws, and we have a constitution that says for war, you need approval from Congress. We have not had congressional approval. And look, if the American people support the action, then it can go to Congress, and the people can vote on it, and their representatives can vote on it. But and as far as I'm concerned, there hasn't shown any amount of unilateral or broad support from the people of America. So why are we sending our people, our military service men and women? Why are we sending them there?
What do you think is the actual root cause of this war? Why do you think they're doing this?
Well, I think their ultimate goal is to control the world. I mean, again, and try to find a way to base it on Holy Scripture.
Do you think that this war was perhaps being used as a distraction from anything?
Bro, everything is a distraction.
From what?
Bro, I don't want to say too much, guys.
You can say Epstein files on the internet.
But these people think that it doesn't matter if people die I mean, they don't care if children die. I mean, look at Epstein.
Yeah.
They don't care what happens to children. This is the same thing in Palestine. We bombed a school, or we bombed a hospital. Oh, well.
I was surprised to find myself agreeing with these people. Their radical left-wing ideology of focusing on domestic issues and strengthening community was starting to sound not so radical.
Things are horrible now in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not denying that. But the thing that I've always had an issue with, even with people in media, is that if you're going to identify the problems, that's great. But you need solutions like mass mobilization to rebuild the country.
Like a manifesto.
Public ownership of natural resources, or public control of central banking instead of private banks for profit, and an economic bill of rights like FDR proposed in 1944. Those are real solutions that can be implemented with a government of action for working families.
All I know is we got to do something. We got to volunteer. People, you got to volunteer. Show up to an organization. Practice nonviolent civil disobedience. Please vote. Vote, 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 and end all wars.
And what would you say to people who think this sounds like you're trying to make Los Angeles into a socialist hellscape like Zoran Mamdani's New York?
Oh my God, God forbid we should be thinking about social people. Are we not a social species? Do we not like being social? Are we No, I believe that, you know what, look, I am a social capitalist. That's what I call myself.
Sure.
Social first. I believe that capitalism has a time and a place for the things we don't need, luxury goods, handbags, and luxury sports cars and whatever. That capitalism all day. But for the things we need, like public transit, schooling, housing, access to nutrition and healthcare, right? Transportation, these things, but people should always have a dignified public option. Social first, capitalism second.
Organize your workplace. Join a labor union. It is time for labor unions to build their own institutions, practice mutual aid, buy out rent-controlled properties and turn them into housing cooperatives and community land trusts to build affordable housing in our communities. Union-owned co-ops, cooperatives are the future, people. Hello. So that's what we got to do.
Folks, I may be being converted to leftism.
In an ironic twist of fate, I'd had a come-to-Jesus moment and decided to lay down my arms where it all began. My time among the heathens had made me rethink the morality of the Holy War altogether, but perhaps the real crusade was the friends we made along the way.
And for our heathen viewers who may agree with you, where can they find more information or support your campaign?
Yeah, you can check me out at Andre4LA. That's ANDREJ. There's a silent J at the end of my name. It's Ukrainian. Yeah, our family's Ukrainian. So it's ANDREJ, the number 4, LA.com. Also on Instagram at Andre ANDREJ4LA.
And if there are any insane heathens that are watching this video and agree with you, where could they find more information about such an organization?
I hope they wouldn't be insane, the heathens. But it's CPIUSA.org. It stands for the Center for Political Innovation. Okay, we also have a YouTube channel as well, Center for Political Innovation. You can find morning messages there. I tend to post inspirational or educational or political things there.
Yeah.
And you can see the whole vibe and see what we're all about.
Hey guys, check out In the Streets LA for real people, real stories, no filter. We're going to talk about everything and talk to everybody in LA.
They say war never changes, but the incredible people of Los Angeles proved to us during the making of this video that maybe we can be the change we want to see in the world. And that is a morality that, frankly, I can get behind. Thank you all for your support and for watching. Let us know if you'd like us to do more Man on the Street videos like this here on the Really American channel. And as always, all the links for any information talked about in this video will be in the description below. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you guys in the next one.